What are you making?
Carne alla pizzaiola. Delicious and easy steak pizzaiola. Take a look and stay tuned for the recipe. Hello everybody, this is Alessandra. Welcome to my home. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making carne alla pizzaiola. Pizzaiola steak or meat alla pizzaiola. Simple, really simple, and it comes together so quickly. Simple ingredients, the meat, but I want to talk about it quickly later. So I have extra virgin olive oil, garlic, a little bit of heat with hot pepper flakes, oregano is important, and fresh basil. And here we have plum tomatoes, San Marzano. I just have a 28-ounce can. Okay, so let's talk about the meat. I'm using a New York strip that's sliced very thin, and I was lucky enough to find it. This meal also is great with sirloin or rump roast. If you get a sirloin piece or the rump roast, you need to pound it, otherwise it's going to be tough. But when I find the New York strip or the ribeye thinly sliced, it's just perfect the way it is. Let's move right over to the stove and let's get this cooked. Frying pan on, let's just add a little bit of the oil. And what you're going to do is going to make it nice and hot. And now before we do that, let's salt the meat. Let's go ahead and sear the meat on both sides. Just a few minutes and then you turn it. The trick is not to overcook the meat. Okay, now let's go ahead and remove the meat. It is no way near cooked. I'm going to add a little bit more of the oil, and I'm going to add the garlic and the hot chili flakes. See all the drippings from the meat? That's all flavor. Be careful not to burn the garlic. Okay, now I'm going to crush my own tomatoes. Rings off and go ahead and add the tomato in. Rest of the sauce goes in. I want you to see when the oil starts coming up, that means the sauce is cooking properly and it's almost cooked. But I also want you to see that color. Look at that, it's beautiful. If you left some lumps of the tomatoes, just cut them up with the wooden spoon. Can you use crushed tomatoes already and save that stuff? Yes. But you know, some things that our moms and grandmothers and my Aunt Tina would say to me, that the worst tomatoes, they used to chop them up so they could cut corners. So I always like to get a nice San Marzano or plum tomato, and you know that it's whole, it has no blemishes, and it's gonna be delicious. Let's go ahead, add the oregano right in and adjust the salt. Always taste and make sure. Buono di sale. While this cooks, I have a little story for you. You know, I always have stories. I'm sorry if some of you don't want to hear them, but here it goes. So many years ago, I think I was not even 20, I had my summer vacation in Italy, and then I was flying home from Zurich, and I was going to take an overnight train from Napoli to Zurigo and then come home the next day. Sure enough, my aunt and uncle were so worried that I was going to be traveling overnight, sleeping in a couchette car where there's 6 bunk beds, 3 on one side and 3 on another. Anyway, long story short, they came on board the train, and lucky me, there was an Italian family also traveling to Zurich. It was a mother, father, and 2 kids. So my aunt and my uncle were like, oh, state attenta a mia nipote, she's traveling alone, she's a young girl, tutte le raccomandazioni. So, and of course they were happy to take care of me for the overnight, and it was wonderful. 1 hour into the train ride before we settled down to sleep, They open up a basket and oh mio Dio, cosa è uscito da lì dentro. The beautiful food that came out of that basket. And one thing I remember particularly was carne pizzaiola in these big, chunky, crusty breads. And then, you know, the tomato sauce soaked through the middle and it was just divine. I'll never forget that meal and those lovely people that, stayed with me, so I felt safe through the night. Thank you for listening to my stories. The oil has come up, that means the sauce is ready. And now let's go ahead and add the meat back in. All the drippings too. Come dice mia nonna, una girata e una ruotata. Just a flip back and forth and it's going to be ready. And here you have it. It's all ready to eat. Let's go ahead and plate it. Now, another thing, I like to make it with extra tomato sauce because for a complete meal, you make 2 pennette, half a pound of penne, a pound of penne, depending on how many people, and you have a complete meal. But today I just want to have la carne pizzaiola like this. It goes really well. It's fresh flavor and it pulls the plate all together. My favorite part of the video is when I get to taste it. Oh. Okay, make these simple recipes that are delicious, and most importantly, if we don't keep up with making these recipes, the tradition will one day be gone. So I almost feel a responsibility to keep these videos going. Well, thank you for watching. Grazie, alla prossima, arrivederci. Ciao ciao, and let's keep cooking together.